Now that Shang-Chi is a member of the MCU, I think it'd be fun to take a look at some of his lesser-known moments from the comics. And there's one in particular that I'm sure most of you have forgotten about, when Black Panther almost married his sister. This one happened a while back, in Volume 4, Issue 11 of Black Panther, right before Panther teamed up with Blade to kill a bunch of vampires in Louisiana. Shang-Chi's father, who at that time was no longer known as Fu Manchu, and instead was called Han, wanted to find a way to expand his power, and he thought that if he could somehow create a bridge between himself and Wakanda, he would be able to add the continent of Africa under his influence. He decided the best way to do this was to genetically alter his daughter so that she would only be able to have male heirs, and offer her to T'Challa, who was looking to get married at that point. After all, Shang-Chi's father, who only goes by Zheng Zhu nowadays in the comics, had lived for over 400 years by that point in time. Even if his grandson, the child of T'Challa and his daughter, avoided his evil influence, it would only be a matter of time until one of T'Challa's descendants would fall under his spell. And that's when Fu Manchu, or Han, or Zheng Zhu, as we now know him, would be able to exert his power. But things didn't go according to plan. First off, in order to invite Black Panther in his house to make a formal offer, Shang-Chi's father decided that he should attack T'Challa with hundreds of ninjas. You know, just to make sure that he was dealing with the real king of Wakanda and not a cosplayer or something. Luke Cage happened to be with him at the time, so together, Panther and Cage held back as many as they could, before they were thrown into a dragon ship and sent to Han's location in China. Once they arrived, Han, remember this was the new name for Fu Manchu at the time, introduced his daughter to Black Panther. Wearing a beautiful purple dress, she stood behind a curtain waiting for Panther to accept her. Both T'Challa and Luke Cage were floored. Cage even said, "She's not the fugly daughter either, she's fine." At that point, Han told Panther his plan. His daughter would produce male heirs, and together, hopefully, that child would unite the continents of Africa and Asia. But Panther apologized. He thought Han's daughter was lovely, but he just couldn't accept the proposal. His heart belonged to another. And like me, you probably know that he meant Storm, whom he'd eventually marry. And then Han got pissed. He made some racial slurs in Chinese towards Panther, and then declared he would exact revenge for Panther's offensive behavior. Things were about to devolve into a brawl, when suddenly Shang-Chi arrived to save his sister. Now, what's really interesting is Luke Cage didn't know who Shang-Chi was at the time. Black Panther was kinda shocked, since Iron Fist, who was Cage's buddy, was not only aware of Shang-Chi, but also knew that Shang-Chi was the world's greatest martial artist. Black Panther kind of hinted that Iron Fist must have been too embarrassed or prideful to mention Shang-Chi in front of Luke Cage, you know, because he wanted his buddy to think that he was the best kung fu practitioner in the world. Together, the three heroes defeated Han's forces and escaped with Shang-Chi's sister. It's at this point where Shang-Chi seems to do a noble thing. Shang-Chi's sister admits that she actually really likes Black Panther and would like to continue with the engagement. And to be honest, who wouldn't want to marry Black Panther? He's a superhero who has super strength, an entire kingdom at his command, and is a whole lot nicer than any of the thugs in Han's circle. And after his sister lets her feelings be known, Shang-Chi adds that he has no objections. Black Panther is an honorable man, he says. So I read a bit more into this, and I thought that Shang-Chi, kind of like Han, was pushing for his sister to marry Black Panther. After all, the poor girl had been locked up in Han's fortress for years. She probably was facing many more years of therapy after what she had been through. And since Black Panther saves people, perhaps he could have helped save his sister from all the trauma he faced. What do you think about this theory? And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe if you're new here. I'll catch you on the next one. Until then, remember, with great power comes great responsibility.